praise, glory, honor, love, and reverence for Yahweh, our Elohim, our Mighty One, our Father, the Creator of the universe, previously known as the Lord our God, and His Son, Yahshua HaMashiach, the Messiah, the Savior of the universe, previously known as Jesus Christ.
Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, there lived a young man by the name of Romeo, whose only wish was to love another with all his heart. As well in his heart was his desire to see his dream of a renaissance, born in Providence. Poetic man. As the fearless leader of the United States of America, a new world order achieved at all costs.
Hi, welcome to the film/book/bigger pictures analysis part of the broadcast, where I like to focus on the parts of the website www.providencerenaissance.com, which is a project that I had worked on for quite some time, which involves a film/book as well as a lot of other multimedia content within its pages. It's pretty involved, and I'm just going through different components of it to kind of like take a more kind of educational approach with that, or kind of explanatory approach. A lot of it's very autobiographical in orientation. That I a lot of things came out of my own personal experiences, and I also like to kind of provide some clarification just so people don't misunderstand any of the intent behind the different scenes that make up the overall performance. So I want to focus on one particular scene, which is a character. So this character is called Mercurio. So Mercurio, because the underlying narrative in the story is based on the the, the play by Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, of course, Romeo and Juliet. Right? I always thought Romeo and Juliet was just an amazing thing, amazing story about true love, and it provides a really nice counterpoint to the kind of crazy sexual lifestyle explosion that's happening today, and kind of brings people back to the reality of romance. And there's romance in scripture, and there's the beauty of 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 the family unit, which is the backbone of our society, which has been completely undermined by divorces and all kinds of alternative lifestyles, and it's rather unfortunate, that we're in that kind of state. So this is, so I always felt, and I'm a hopeless romantic at heart, and I always loved the story of Romeo and Juliet, and it's tragic but beautiful. It's true love and had a tragic ending, of course, and uh, I just always thought that it was a beautiful story, and I always liked the Zeffirelli version of Franco Zeffirelli film version of Romeo and Juliet. I thought it was just beautiful. So basically, one of the characters who was a friend of Romeo or Romeo from my story, but Romeo from the original story is named Mercutio. So Mercutio is very much an eccentric, a poet, um, and you might even say he has some kind of mental illness in a way, the way he talks and talks in the abstract. And the character they had that played him in the Zeffirelli version, I thought was just just a perfect casting for that character. The gentleman just got in really abstract spaces, which is something, again, might maybe in the realm of like mental illness, schizophrenia, stuff like that. But it was just a very different kind of character that there's not a lot of history for. It's almost like he was like the first eccentric in some type of you know in some literary context or media context overall. It was a very interesting character to introduce to the world scene at that time, specifically in world history. But so I always, kind of thought of myself as somewhat of an eccentric. I mean, being involved in art and different mediums and whatever the case, or just people always thought that I was different, unique or just odd. People say you are your own person or whatever. But I think that comes to the territory, having have background in theater and arts and things like that. So I don't know, everybody's just a little weird or off or different, you know, just unusual, have a bizarre personality or whatever. I mean, I don't think I'm bizarre. I mean, I think I'm actually pretty tame and conservative now. Once upon a time, maybe it was more different or whatever the case. But so anyway, I always thought this character was just, I don't know. I really, to me, was just always very interesting, very compelling, because one of the very first versions. I'm sure there's plenty of others and past forms of literature that were eccentrics or however you want to classify them, but I just thought it was like a perfect articulation of that type of personality, because I've met quite a few people that were definitely fall into that category, and we're definitely different, and we're definitely kind of teetering on the edge of some type of insanity in their lives, legitimately. And I don't think madness is a good thing. I just think some people are a little off, you know what I mean? But not necessarily bad. They're not bad people for it. They're just different, you know? So this character, so my version, Mercurio, and this is not meant to be mistaken for the god Mercury, the messenger god, messenger of the gods, what have you, the god of communication or anything like that. It's more of like Mercury, like with the Mad Hatter reality. Supposedly the chimney sweeps that basically clean your chimneys, the brims of their hats had mercury to stiffen the brims, because they obviously there's a lot of soot coming down the cleaning a chimney, that they would need to wear these hats to keep it out of their eyes and everything, all the soot and everything. So they used mercury, but that led to mercury poisoning. So, and this whole reality of the Mad Hatter, I think, is derived from that reality of the chimney sweeps that, based on my understanding, that whole tradition came out of like London and from other parts of England. So it's a very complex character in a way. So you have Mercutio, the eccentric from the original story of Romeo and Juliet, and then you have kind of tying in this reality of the Mad Hatters, and even like in Alice in Wonderland, kind of in a way, but not completely. But just the idea that mercury poisoning, this whole eccentric nature to one's personality, things like that. But then he's also uh, Romeo's twin brother in the story, so it's a different twist on the character of Mercutio, who's not. He was not. He was related as a um, um, related to Romeo, but he was not like his brother. So I made it like the twin because I'm playing both Romeo and Mercurio in the story, the two different characters. So I just wanted to provide some clarification. I mean, there's not was no intent whatsoever with any kind of occultic or mysticism oriented component to that character. It's not meant to be. And throwing in like a favorite character of mine, Charlie Chaplin was definitely not a good person, overall. I think he had some positive elements to his life and career and everything, but based on my understanding, you know, I guess he was some type of pedophile, but that was pretty much an epidemic, I think, and continues to this day in Hollywood. Big producers and directors, having part of these like pedophile cults or rings behind the scenes, and who knows what happens behind the scenes. But from what I've heard, not very good things. So he was definitely somebody that had relationships with underage girls and maybe boys. I don't know all the details. So, but honestly, I always thought the character of the little tramp, I always liked that character. I always thought, he was kind of like this working class hero, not to get into any kind of communist manifesto oriented mentality and perspective on the world. But, I just like the character. He made me laugh. He's funny. It's like almost like a cartoon character come to life, and I always felt some kind of affinity for that reality. Being having a background in the theater, being in a lot of different plays and musicals, and having taken acting courses and directing courses and things like that. I always had this affinity for that reality, almost being like a kind of cartoon character that came to life. I always wanted to do something like that, or be a cartoon character or something. It'd be for fun, nothing serious or anything, but just fun, different. So anyway, this is my nod to maybe the eccentrics of the world, this particular character. And also there's one element too that, it's also kind of highlighting the reality of homelessness. And, homelessness is a very bad thing, but I was homeless, technically speaking. I traveled around the country. I hopped a freight train out of Vegas, then went all the way up into Salt Lake to the mountains. I almost died on it. Like the tramps that, hop the freight trains. I mean, I lived that life. Stayed in different homeless shelters in different parts of the country and San Fran and different places like that. I met a lot of street characters, and this is kind of, it's not necessarily all bad to be homeless. I mean, technically speaking, the disciples were the Messiah, even in a way, was very much homeless in this world. Or just traveling around these different countrysides and to other countries. The Book of Acts. I mean, in a way, you're traveling around like a homeless person, a migrant in a way. But you had a mission, of course. But it's not all. You know. I don't think it's necessarily to always look at people that are homeless as downtrodden. There's definitely a huge population that is downtrodden, that is homeless, but there's a certain freedom to it too. So this is a kind of nod to that, that there are some positive elements. There's a lot of freedom involved and not being tied down to having a mortgage and all kinds of bills and expenses and property taxes and you name it. So I did have some fun traveling, I had to admit. But anyway, this character, but there's one more thing. Sorry, I usually don't like to do this kind of thing, get into all this kind of detail for every single scene or anything like that. But this character is kind of near and dear to my heart in a way, and he's again nod to certain population groups, if you want to call it that. But at one point at the end of this scene where the introduction to Mercurio slash Mercutio, aka Mercutio from the original story of Romeo and Juliet, at the end he basically, he's just a very ecstatic character. He's like, woo, right? And he laughs kind of hysterically or whatever. But, this to me, like so many people are obsessed with sports, especially football and um, soccer worldwide, which is also known as football. Football in the States is, the NFL, National Football League. So people are totally, completely enamored, obsessed, head over heels for football. They love football. They're just bananas over it. They get dressed up in crazy costumes like Raiders fans and stuff and go to these games and they're yelling at the top of their lungs, right? And same thing, World Cup, forget it. People are going absolutely crazy. You know, to me, I think people, my side of the equation is why can't we take that same kind of passion, that same like woo, spirit and direct it to the Most High, the Creator of the universe, Yahweh or Elohim. Why can't we um, be inspired to by Him and to Him and send that inspiration back to Him and just show people how much we're ecstatic by our faith and belief in Him and the Messiah, Hamashiach, the our passion. It's all about passion, but just people are just insanely passionate. I mean, to the point of just madness over sports, which I love sports. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love football. I really do. Soccer, I mean, I watch it. I mean, I just never had the, I was never heavy into it. But I love golf. I love sports. I love tennis. I love all different kinds of sports. But I really, really love football. It's just something. It's just awesome. It's just like the NFL form. So, but to take that same passion and direct it and involve it in your own worship of the Most High. Like sometimes I get depressed. Sometimes I'm downtrodden. Sometimes I'm like down in the dumps and like I go into some bad space, some dark space or something. But there's other times that I really feel that raw energy, that raw passion and love for the Most High that really, not all the time. It doesn't always come out all the time, but like I feel ecstatic. I don't feel sad. I feel that some people are very kind of sad in their faith. They're always like, I mean, sometimes I barely have any money. I just have enough money to get by. I mean, that's happened to me so many times. Sometimes I've had plenty of money. Sometimes I've had barely any money. But I always have just enough to get by through this world. But I can always think, oh, this world sucks, or I have no money. I'm always broke all the time, and just get like very depressive about this world. I'm always broke, and like who cares? You know what I mean? It frees you up too if you're broke. You don't have any money. You have just enough. And you're blessed because you have just enough. You have food coming in. You can eat on a regular basis. I mean, that's a blessing in and of itself. You have the ability to pay your bills, even though you've got just enough to pay your bills. It's a blessing. Who cares? Now, yeah, there's plenty of people that have more, but you shall not covet thy neighbor's house or thy neighbor's wife or anything like that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we have just enough to get by in this world, and that's all we need. Or we have way too much, and it's sad. But anyway, to me, like I really feel very strongly about my belief in the Most High and the Messiah. Very strong. I'm a very passionate person ordinarily, and maybe I get overheated sometimes. I get very hot under the collar, I get upset, angry, and that's, I still working on that. I mean, over time, it's definitely cooled off, that very passionate anger, wrathful anger component of my personality. But, my passion towards the Most High I feel ecstatic. So I feel like, woo. So I just want to show you one little part of before we get into the sequence with Mercurio. There's another part of the website providencerenaissance.com. I'm just going to show you where that is, but we've shown it before. And if you go on like the main website, it's like right there. It's the highlights clip. But this ties into my belief. And, people might be freaked out by it. It's too intense. You shall know them by their fruits, right? Oh, this is bad fruit or something. This guy's some wild guy or something. And I just want to clarify, like, this is really to me. So this is from the front page of the site, the name of the Father at the very top, which is most important. And then you have like the scene with the Superman building. It's meant to be downtown Providence, a diner, Alfredo Cappuccino's Diner, Monticello's Bank. The title right here. So this is a film book slash highlights preview. So this is just a bunch of clips from. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but it's a bunch of clips from like a preview. Kind of pull you in. Teaser kind of thing. I call it Romeo Monticello's Providence Renaissance versus the Unholy Roman Empire's New World Order. I mean, in essence, that is a title that I feel covers all the bases of what the film slash book project is all about. But just want to show you real quick because, you know, to me, I don't know. This is just me being goofy or me just really being me, like in a lot of ways. Like I'm just amped up. You know what I mean? I love the Most High. I love the Messiah, Yahshua HaMashiach. I love this whole tradition of the ancient Hebrews that lived in the desert, and then you had the pillar of fire from the Most High over the tabernacle in the wilderness. Over the Holy of Holies. That's where ultimately the Ark of the Covenant was stored, and then it's symbolic of the Mashiach, the Messiah, ultimately. But anyway, so just want to share this. So this is just a preview clip, just showing little bits and pieces of the overall film that I had made, and then
All praise, glory.
so that came from the Mercurio sequence, which I'm going to show you right now. But maybe some people are freaked out by it. They see that and they're like, oh, like. Some people, all they want for religious reasons or for the religious reality that they're accustomed to, they want the gentleman standing in front of the congregation. They want, nice, soft-spoken voice, all this stuff, and that's great. I mean, I've been exposed to that. I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm trying to reach everybody else. I'm trying to reach the prostitutes, the drug addicts, the drug dealers, the prisoners, the football fans, the rappers, the all the people of the world, everybody else that doesn't connect with the guy standing at the front of the church, the congregation, preaching at everybody. And I'm not saying that's bad. I think that's great. I'm just trying a different approach. This is my approach, which I feel led to And that's why I'm incorporating this whole multimedia reality into the broadcast because, I'm trying to make it educational yet kind of fun and, just try take a different take on things and reach more different kinds of people than normally get reached, and especially with the Hebrew roots of the faith. I mean, the Hebrew roots of the faith really is it's almost like graduate school versus K through 12 education and fundamentalized Baptist Christianity, if you want to look at it like that. And then you get into the Hebrew roots of the faith, but you have your foundation in the Baptist tradition, and then you go to get your graduate degree in the Hebrew roots of the faith. So there's that side of it too. So anyway, just want to share that, but that was just one little sequence, but I also want to share this one. So this is chapter 11 in the film slash book, or chapters slash scene in the film slash book. Because it is it's like a book that was made into a film, or a screenplay that was made into a film, but has book elements, characters, and drawings and stuff. And, it's very much homemade. If you've ever seen any more, probably nobody's ever seen these sequences because they're not even watching this broadcast. But what are you gonna? Maybe it's some futuristic thing where a lot of people will watch this broadcast. Hopefully they do. I don't know, but I'm doing it because it feels right. And so this is Mercurio is found sleeping in the alleyway. He's stuck in his little box. These are supposed to be little doors. His legs sticking out. Right, that's him right here with his little tramp hat and his little tie. So
City streets, sunset. See romantics walking through alleyway to downtown. They stop and notice a small cardboard box with the look of a miniature house with legs sticking out. They stop and knock on the door. Hello, is anyone home? Oh, there he is, Mr. Clean. There he is, Clean. To make a long story short, Mercurio is home. Mercurio? Yes, I am Romeo's twin brother. Is that cool with you? Very cool. So what's all this talk about a renaissance? Sweep the globe and all that? Well, that's my kind of language. How come nobody told me? Oh, the money rules the world. Right here. Oh, you feel cool. The Messiah is the king, and I am a ham. I am his court jester. What are you all waiting for? Come join the fun. Come one, come all those both big and small. Welcome to our big top show. So yes, not no, don't say it isn't so. You'll learn things now you never knew you know. So come along for the ride, the roller coaster deep down inside. You can run and you sure can't hide. The road is narrow, the road was never wide. If they told you this, you can be sure they lied.
all right, so yeah, that was I don't know. I just think that character, I don't know, it just cracks me up. I don't know how it worked out where I was able to make that, but anyway, I hope people like that. Um, I hope it's inspirational, and maybe I just want to clarify something about the character, just so people understood why I had what went into the dynamics, the mechanics of that particular character. He's really like kind of an amalgamated personality drawn from a lot of different literary, kind of almost borderline biblical sources, but he's really a good character, a fun character. But at the same time, there's different dynamics to his personality, and he's kind of almost like another side of Romeo's brain. I mean, they're twin brothers, so I'm not sure how it all ties together internally, genetically speaking, but he's a different side of Romeo in a way, if you want to call it that. But I thought it was fun, but really, it's about like this other reality of our faith. This that we can be very passionate about. I mean, this is the creator of the universe. I mean, the creator of the entire universe. And I say that a lot in this broadcast, but Yahweh is the creator of the entire universe. Just to stop and think about what that means is pretty significant. I mean, everything. I mean, this entire broadcast is not possible without him. I mean, everything is not possible without him. The Mashiach and eternal life is not possible without Mashiach, Yahshua HaMashiach. I mean, these are amazing things we're talking about here. These are profound, profoundly significant things that we're talking about here. So when I'm passionate, you know, maybe people are scared about that. They think I'm like some kind of wolf in sheep's clothing. That's fine. I don't really care. But I'm really passionate about a lot of things, but about specifically about my belief in the Almighty, who's the creator of the entire universe. I mean, I want to express that, and it's a form of thanks. Thank you. My voice can vocalize my passion for the Most High, just like somebody sings. It's a shofar, in a way. My voice is a shofar because I'm using his his tool, his vocal mechanism to express my passion for him and his creation. That's a huge part of that character in the story. And I use it in the highlights clip, and maybe people are freaked out by it, and I don't really care, honestly, because I'm just sharing, something that is very personal to me. My a very strong passion for my beliefs. I'm not sad about my faith. Like I feel a lot of people really are very sad and downtrodden about their faith, and it's sad. They're very like they walk around their head down, and I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all, and I don't know. I just don't. So it comes out in different ways, like woo. Anyway, so I just want to share that, and hopefully people liked it. Maybe nobody's watching this. I don't know, but I'm just doing it anyway, and hopefully people get something out of it.